You've tried a funded challenge, maybe 2, maybe 5, and at the end of the day, it's ending up exactly the same way. You end up by blowing them. The first reason why you're failing your prop firm challenges is because you're treating it like a casino. You see, the big account sizes that you can get, you can see that in 1 or 5% profit, you can make a few thousands of dollars. But this is not how you should think. If you trade the prop firm accounts like it's a casino, trying to pass it in one trade or trying to risk way too much in one single trade because you want to make a huge payout, you are not going to be sustainable on the long term. So if you go for fast profits, for example, you're gonna have a way too big risk, like for example 2% per trade or 3% per trade, and this is how you're gonna completely just go straight to your daily drawdown or just blow your challenge because of the overall drawdown. It's because you're not taking it slow enough, because you're just chasing the fast gains. So this is why I really recommend you to stick between a 0.5% risk per trade until a 1% risk. Even you can go lower, but don't go higher than that, especially in the first trades, because you don't have any caution to protect yourself from any losses, and you're just gonna blow your challenge faster if you have a losing streak. Then it's to have no solid strategy. So basically, either you're gonna change strategies during your challenge or your evaluation, or you just don't even have a solid strategy to start with, that you didn't have any data about it, you didn't backtest the strategy, you didn't trade the demo account about with that strategy. So basically, you just trade without any real consistent and any real structure. If you don't have any clear edge, you're not trading, guys, you're just gambling. This is why it's super important to, before even trying to pass a prop firm challenge, you need to have a good strategy. So what you can do, guys, to prove yourself that you can trade on a funded account, is actually backtest the strategy for at least 100 trades and then go on a demo account for a few months just to see if you can pass the prop firm challenge or just be profitable on a demo account. So basically, imagine that you have an 8% profit target and go on a demo account and try to pass this 8% profit target, but on demo first. If you can do that, then you're gonna be ready for a real evaluation. Another thing that a lot of people are doing while they're failing their challenges is because they're over leveraging after a loss. So yes, I know that it sucks to, for example, have 1% loss, 2% or being even 5% in drawdown, but it's not by risking more that you're gonna recover faster. I mean, yes, but at the end of the day, you're gonna lose the account if it goes wrong, and it's just not reliable again on the long term. You're not trying to rush the process, you're not trying to pass the challenge as fast as possible. That doesn't make any sense. That's why you need to, even if you're in drawdown, to try to build up your capital slowly again and not just chasing your loss and risking more for recovering. For example, you need to understand the daily drawdown, the maximum drawdown, if your drawdown is trailing depending on the challenge type. If you have a consistency rule, for example, for the instant, you do need to be aware of that too, as well with the minimum trading days, for example, or even the inactivity days. So you need to be careful about the rules. Every single prop firm have their own rules, some of them easy to respect, some of them harder, but you do need to understand the rules before you go even try to pass the challenge. So the sixth reason why you're not passing any challenge, it's because you're not taking into consideration that you might be over leveraging across multiple pairs, because you take multiple trades on really correlated assets with the same risk. Like for example, if you want to use 1% for one trade, imagine, okay, but at the same time you're opening the same trade on GBP USD and Euro USD. Even not if it's the same trade, it doesn't matter, but imagine you open two trades, one on Euro USD, one on GBP USD. You don't consider that those assets are highly correlated. So if one of them spikes, both of them will spike basically. So if you risk 1% on Euro USD and 1% on GBP USD, at the end of the day combined, it makes 2% that you're actually risking in the market. That's why it's really important to split your risk between highly correlated pairs. That way you're not over leveraging your accounts and you're not gonna go in drawdown quick enough. So the seventh reason why you're not actually profitable, guys, like we talked about previously as well, it's that you're not forward testing and you're not back testing long enough. You try to pass a prop firm challenge just like this without any data about the strategy, about any data about if you know how to trade and if you can be profitable on the long term, term. And basically, without backtesting at least 100 trades and trading on a demo account for at least 2 months or even 3 months of profitability, you will not be able to pass a funded account. You don't have data about your own results. You don't have your confidence, your psychology will be messed up. So this is why it's super important for you to backtest and to forward test before even jumping into a prop firm challenge. The 8th reason, guys, why you're still not funded, it's because you're not journaling your trades and you're not even journaling your emotions. So if you don't do that, you don't know, again, the data about your setups, you don't have the data about your psychology, and you don't know what you can do to improve. So this is why you need to create a journal. For example, there is multiple free journals on Notion that you can just have, or even on Excel or whatever you want, but track your trades and track your emotions. That way you will progress over a long period of time, and this is what we want in trading. The 9th reason, guys, why you're still not profitable and funded, it's because you're putting way too much pressure on yourself. Like, for example, if you don't have money to trade, or if, for example, you need this payout to survive, this will give you so much pressure to perform, while at the end of the day, it's just gonna affect your psychology. So if you need to say to yourself like, oh, I need to pass this, I need to receive a payout, or I'm broke, that's how you're not gonna be sustainable, because your pressure is way too high and you will make irrational decisions. You will not be able to actually trade peacefully, and of course, your results will be affected, because again, this is not sustainable on the long term. And the reason what you can do instead, it's actually have some savings. If, for example, you want to go full-time while trading on prop firms, have at least 3 to 6 months in your savings for your expenses in case you don't receive a payout at all. So that way you will still have this caution and your psychology will be way better. And the last reason, guys, why you cannot keep your funded accounts, it's because you just focus on passing the challenge. But the thing is, you need to look longer and you need to look further. Why? It's because when you pass your challenge, it's not done. You didn't receive any payout yet, and don't get like too excited, because the real thing that you want to do is keep the funded accounts as long as possible. You want to receive multiple payouts. So when you pass the challenge, don't think, okay, now I can risk more and then in one trade I'm gonna have a 10K payout. That doesn't work like that. You need to actually keep the funded account when you get funded. You already tried to pass the challenge, you passed it, so don't screw it all over by chasing a payout. Just continue to do exactly the same thing as you did in your challenge. So basically you just repeat step by step the same things that you did during your challenge. That way you will still have small gains, and over a long period of time, or even a few weeks, whatever, you will receive your payout. But that way you will stay in the risk management rules, and that way you will not blow your funded account after you passed the challenge. So if you have any other piece of advices, guys, don't hesitate to just say it in the comments. That way other people can as well see the comments, see what they can do about their own situation. And if, for example, you already passed a funded account and you have some, again, some piece of advices or something you did to pass the evaluation or even get funded or even receive a payout, don't hesitate to share everything you did in the comments. That way we can learn from each other. And this is, at the end of the day, the reason why we're here.